When you are trying to learn all about your customers, it's not just about the marketing. Knowing and understanding your customers is the heart of running a business that will be here for years to come. So this video is going to be all about customers. In this video, I'll walk you through how to identify your customers using the STP framework, why just guessing who your audience is dangerous, and how to create offers that your customers actually buy. Stick around because understanding your customers is the core of your business. With my first startup, Afrocentrics, all of the success was down to a deep knowledge and understanding of my customers. I used to hang out with my customers. I'd call them at least once a week. I would take them out for afternoon tea, and I used those conversations to create customer profiles, customer almost identity maps that my team would use to make sure they understood customers. And what this would look like is being in the office and someone calling the phone, one of the team picking up and saying to everyone else, I'm going to miss the meeting because it's a hattie, so this is going to take a minute. And what is a hattie? Well, we found that we initially ran the business thinking that the customers would be like me, right? That they would be young Black women, maybe at university. And actually they weren't. Most of our customers were older women in their 40s and 50s because they had the disposable income to buy natural organic ingredients, and they thought more about their health. They thought about their well-being in a deeper way than most people in their teens and 20s. So eventually, after lots of conversations with customers, we learned, okay, that's the customer who's spending the most money. It's Black women in their 40s and 50s. But we also have these other customer types. We also have, for instance, white women who have mixed race children. We also have younger women who maybe buy it every now and then or get family members to buy it, and we named them. So the older women we named Funke, and Funke spent a lot of money with us and told everyone about it. The white women with mixed race children we named Hattie, and the younger woman who could be almost any ethnicity, but she was at university or, starting off her career. She didn't have a lot of money, but she did care a lot about the ingredients and about ethics. She was a Kia. And we found Kias were good to hire. Hatties were excellent customers. They needed a lot of time, a lot of support to walk them through the products. And Funkes were like our ambassadors. They would spend loads of money with us. They'd buy the product, share it with their friends and family. We considered them almost like our aunties within our team at Afrocentrics. And I learned so much from that I was able to transfer then into working with other startups and building my other companies. And the key thing for me is you really have to understand your customers deeply. You don't have to name the personas. Some people find that weird. I quite like to do it. It makes it easier for you to train everyone in your team, and it brings people to life. But where do you start? How do you get to the point of knowing what your customer personas are, what to name them, what they like to do, where they hang out? You start off with STP. So let's get into it. So what is STP? STP is a framework, and it stands for segmentation, targeting, positioning. It's a way to make sure you're not just shouting into the void, but you're actually having impact with your messaging. Segmentation is about splitting your market into meaningful groups. Targeting is about choosing which of these groups you will serve. And positioning is about deciding how you'll be seen and why you're different. Think of it this way. Segmentation helps you to figure out who exists out there. Targeting helps you to decide which of those people care that you exist. And positioning is about showing them why you are the best choice. Let's kick off with segmentation in greater detail. So segmentation is all about breaking down your big audience into smaller groups. You can segment in loads of different ways. 4 of the most simple are demographics, psychographics, behavior, or pain points. So with demographics, you're thinking about things like people's gender, their age, their socioeconomic background. So you often hear people talking about things like an ABC1 audience. This means people who are quite affluent, they earn a lot of money, and in a UK context, they typically live in the southeast of England. In most countries, it means they live near the capital. They probably have office jobs where they're paid quite well and they have disposable income. That's your ABC1 type audience, and that is a demographic type of segmentation. Let's talk about psychographics. When it comes to psychographics, you're thinking about values, attitudes, and lifestyle. So for instance, if you're just focusing on gym goers in general, those are people who value fitness. That's very different from saying, I'm going to focus on young men in their 20s who live in the city. Some of them might go to the gym, but if you're a fitness brand, it's probably safest to think psychographics and focus on people who value fitness and well-being. Then you've got behavior. So this is all about purchase frequency, brand loyalty, the way that people actually shop. And lots of companies like to offer loyalty cards. The reason they do that is it helps them to gather data on us, which helps them decide who to target with which offers and when. It's part of segmentation. And finally, a really good way to segment is based on pain points. So this is figuring out what problems people want solved and targeting slightly differently. So for the same product, you might have people buying it for completely different reasons. An example of this is a kind of weird one, is the got to be glue. So this glue was not invented for the purpose that it ended up being used for. It was made, I think, for prosthetics, for makeup and attaching things to people's faces. And instead, it became very popular with a segment of people who used wigs. So people were using this got to be glue to glue down wigs onto their head. It was not the initial plan, but once the company saw that that's why people were using it, they actually identified that segment and started to move the product and put it next to the other products that people who use wigs might want to use. So once you figure out segmentation, it helps you to understand your customer and figure out how to get your product where they will actually find it. So a little piece of homework for you and your startup. I want you to think about 3 to 4 distinct customer segments and try to do one from each of those categories I just went through. Think of what problems they have that you're solving for them and why you're solving that particular problem for that particular segment of the wider market. Step 2 is about targeting. So once you've segmented your audience, you then need to decide who is your target. You cannot serve everyone. You don't have the resources. Even large companies don't have the resources to serve everyone for a very long time. So you need to decide who you will target, at least to begin with. And when you're deciding who to target, it might simply be about your proximity to a particular group. So for instance, if you are starting off a new company where you're selling soups and you're targeting busy millennial city workers, but you're actually a mum on maternity leave and you know that mums on mat leave also need something quick and nutritious and they might love your soup and you've tested it out at a baby group, even though you want to go after that segment of busy people in the city, it might be wisest to start off with mums because you're seeing them all the time. So when it comes to targeting, part of it is about the business case. You might think about what is the biggest market to go after. Part of it is just who do you have regular access to? That is a wise place to start. When you're thinking about who your target market is, you want to consider 4 things. So you want it to be a large enough target that you could actually make some money. You want it to be specific enough that it's clear who you're looking for. You want it to be a group that's already aware of their pain points, and you want it to be a group that's easy to find, whether online or offline. So always start off small, pick your target, begin there, and then expand. Even a brand as huge as Apple started off just focusing on creative professionals. That was the core of the Apple brand, and now they're mass market. Now loads of people have iPhones, Apple Watches, Macs, but it didn't start off that way. It started off with segmentation and then targeting. So for your targeting, I've got a bit of homework. I want you to pick one specific segment and create a sentence that simply says, I help X, your target segment, achieve Y, whatever it is you solve for them, without whatever it is challenge or frustration that people in that target segment typically have. So try that out. For me, it would be, I help families with multiple hair textures in the house find ethical, sustainable hair care products that really work without a ridiculous price tag. That is the very simple value proposition for Aya Botanicals for the target segment that I'm starting off with. Finally, we are at P, which is positioning. Positioning is all about perception. I can't say that word today. Positioning is all about perception. It's about how you stand out to the target audience that you've chosen. So ask yourself, what do we do better than everyone else? Why should this particular customer choose us over everyone else? And most crucially, think, what emotions do we want to evoke in our audience? Positioning is shaped by your customer experience, your design, your messaging, and your price. All 4 of those things matter. iBotanicals isn't just another brand. It's positioned as science-backed products for women who want luxury results without compromising on ethics or sustainability at a reasonable price. That is a difficult position to be in, but it's also unique. There isn't something on the market that currently caters to that need in that way. And that helps to attract the right customers and filter out the wrong ones. In your early days, you do not need people who are arguing with you about price. You need people who love what you're doing so much, are so grateful that this business exists, that they will pay the price that you have set because they love what you're doing. Those are the early customers you need. They will spread the word, they will buy again, so find them. So your homework, I want you to write out your positioning statement. So that's going to be your brand is the company that people benefit from in this way for this reason. That's what you need to write out. So bringing it all together, when you use STP, you get customers who will be so loyal to you no matter what happens. There was a point in my first brand where my packaging had a manufacturing fault and it was awful. The product was not coming out properly. It was spraying everywhere. And yet customers told me at an afternoon tea over a scone that they were going to Boots and they were buying like travel bottles and dispensing my product into the travel bottles because they loved it so much they didn't want to switch to another brand. How completely insane but also wonderful is that? Those are the types of customers you want. And when you use the STP framework, you get customers who are loyal because you're thinking about their needs. If you meet needs for your customers, they're going to back your business. So try out STP and let me know in the comments below how you found it. So let's wrap up. If you want to build a great company, you don't need to outspend your competitors. You probably can't, or you wouldn't be watching these videos, right? But what you do need to do is understand your competitors. You need to be the person who is the knowledge base, the expert on your chosen customer target. So remember, you need to segment your market based on reality, based on the data. You need to target a group that makes the most sense for you and position your product based on the needs of that target market. Do that and people won't just see your brand and consider it. They will choose it again and again and again. Now that you know how to understand your customers, the next thing is to test what they actually want. So if you haven't already, watch my video on MVPs and put that into practice. That will help you out. If you have watched the MVP video, then stick around for the next one. And the next video is all about crafting an offer that your customers cannot resist. So I'll see you next time. Oh, and if you want to dive deeper, these are the books that I would recommend. So Hooked is a fantastic book just to understand human psychology, customers in general. It's a good one to read when you're thinking about segmenting. Quantum Marketing helps you to master the new marketing mindset. What more could you want? It's all about understanding consumers and making sure that they get what they need. And the 22 immutable laws of branding. I know this video isn't about branding, it's about marketing, but there are principles in here that will help you when you're considering your segmentation and when you're considering who to choose as your target. So read these 3 books, and if you have a favorite, let me know in the comments. If there's something else you would recommend people read, please share it so that the community can grow together. Thank you for listening, and please do like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Positioning. What's positioning? And positioning. Why can't I talk today? Positioning. I'm dehydrated. I haven't had water today. Positioning is completely shaped by your messaging, your design, and your customer experience.